Hello, God bless. It's me, Dick Jr. again. Coming to you today with Matthew chapter 8. The only reference I think that I take out of here to another book, specifically, is in verse 17 here in Matthew chapter 8. There's a reference to Isaiah chapter 53 verse 4, and I'm going to go there and read 4 through 6, just context, and because it's kind of important to the story of who Jesus is and what he's here for. So I've already prayed, and I'm going to go ahead and start reading here in verse 1, chapter 8 of Matthew. Okay. When Jesus came down from the large crowds followed him, and this is where when he left the Sermon on the Mount, after he delivered the 3 previous chapters, basically, when he came down, large crowds followed him. Okay. And a leper came to him and bowed down before him and said, "Lord, if you are willing, you can make me clean." So he believed that Jesus could do it, if Jesus would do it. You see what I mean? And Jesus stretched out his hand and touched him, saying, I am willing, be cleansed. And immediately his leprosy was cleansed. And so by doing so, lepers were severely unclean, and rabbis and teachers and holy men were not supposed to touch such as that. And that's why he asked him the question. See, the leper knew Jesus could do it. He just didn't know if Jesus would do it, because he had to touch a leper, or, so the leper believed. Anyway, and Jesus stretched out his hand and touched him, saying, I am willing, be cleansed. And immediately his leprosy was cleansed. Okay. And Jesus said to him, see that you tell no one, but go show yourself to the priest and present the offering to Moses, that Moses commanded as a testimony to them. So it's a testimony to them for being cleansed by God. He's told them not to tell them who did it. So who does miracles and then asks for no credit? You see what I mean? And this goes back to something I've talked about before, about doing things in secret for your Father, giving things, donation, whatever. Anyway, so verse 5, and when Jesus entered Capernaum, and a centurion came to him, imploring him and saying, Lord, my servant is laying paralyzed at home, fearfully tormented. And Jesus said to him, I will come and heal him. But the centurion said, Lord, I am not worthy for you to come under my roof, but just say the word and my servant will be healed. So that's how much this guy believed. He believed that Jesus, and this is the reason why it works, because he had faith in Jesus. And if we have the same faith in Jesus, then these same types of miracles can happen for us. I know that there's been miracles in my life. I'm still alive, and I was stage 4 cancer 7 years ago now, and here I am today. If that's not a miracle, then I don't know what is. So let's just go on. For I'm a man under authority with soldiers under me, and I say to this one, go, and he goes, and to another, come, and he comes. My slave, do this, and he does it. Now when Jesus heard this, he marveled and said to those who were following, truly I say to you, I have not found such faith with anyone in Israel. And that's a statement that pretty much holds true for some time. But this man had faith that Jesus could just speak the word from right where he is. He didn't have to come and touch the man. He didn't have to pray over him. He didn't have to do anything. He just say it and it'll be done. And Jesus said, that's faith. So he spoke the words. I say to you that many will come from the east and west and recline at the table with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. But the sons of the kingdom will be cast out into the outer darkness. In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And right here he's saying basically that the kingdom of the world, but the sons of the kingdom and his very own people, if they don't believe in Jesus, will be cast out. And Jesus said to the centurion, "Go, it shall be done for you as you have believed." See, and there's that word again, believe, and faith comes into that. And the man believed that Jesus could heal his servant with just a word from right where he was at. And Jesus said, "I'm going to do it just like you believe." And guess what? We're going to go to the next verse. And the servant was healed that very moment from right where he was. Jesus had never seen this servant before. And when Jesus came into Peter's home, he saw his mother-in-law laying sick in bed with fever. He touched her hand, and the fever left her, and she got up and waited on him. When evening came, they brought to him many who were demon-possessed, and he cast out the spirits with a word and healed all who were ill. And I don't want to get too deep into the demon-possessed thing, but the thing where he says that he cast out spirits, okay? And there are two spirits that exist in the world. There's the spirit of Christ and the spirit of Antichrist. That is the only two spirits that are here. Spirit of Christ is, of course, the spirit of God. We know that. And the spirit of Antichrist is the world, which is turned over to Satan. Okay? So I'm going to go on from here. And he will cast out spirits with the word and heal all who are sick in bed. And when evening came, okay, they brought to him many who were demon possessed, and he cast out spirits with a word and healed all who were ill. This was to fulfill what was spoken through Isaiah the prophet. He himself took our infirmities and carried away our diseases. This is verse 17, and this is where I'm going to drag you off to Isaiah chapter 53, verses 4 through 6. Okay, so Isaiah chapter 53, verses 4 through 6. And I've already got them marked here. So, my wife bought me these handy-dandy little sticky things. Amazing. These little dudes right here. Amazing. All right, so Isaiah chapter 53, verses 4 through 6. Surely our griefs he himself bore, and our sorrows he carried. Yet we ourselves esteemed him stricken, smitten of God, and afflicted. But he was pierced through for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquities. The chastening for our well-being fell upon him. By his scourging we are healed. All of us like sheep have gone astray. Each of us has turned to his own way. But the Lord has caused the iniquity of us all to fall on him. Okay? And this is all speaking about Jesus, or the Messiah, okay, which I believe was Jesus Christ. Okay? Some folks don't believe that the Messiah has come. I believe that he has. So, I searched the prophets, and this is where I find these things. But we'll get back here to verse 18. Now when Jesus saw a crowd around him, he gave orders to depart to the other side of the sea, because they were following him for the wrong reasons. They weren't following him because they believed in God or they wanted to do God's will. They were following because of what he did, not because of who he was and the other things about him. They wanted something. And not that that's bad. It would have helped, but it would not help his ministry at this point. He was trying to do something else, I think, and there were more miracles, because sometimes Jesus does things and people are like, why did he do that? I don't know. I don't know why he does this next thing except to show that he is who he is. Okay? So as we go through here, verse 18, now when Jesus saw the crowd around him, he gave orders to depart to the other side of the sea. Then a scribe came and said to him, Teacher, I will follow you wherever you go. And Jesus said to him, The foxes have holes, and the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. It doesn't say right here in this one, this gospel, whether the man followed or not. Jesus was just letting him know, if you follow me, you're sleeping where we lay. Okay? So, and then verse 21, it says, Another of the disciples said to him, Lord, permit me first to go and bury my father. But Jesus said to him, Follow me and allow the dead to bury their own dead. And that's pretty harsh words. But it's either be with me or be without me. That's what he's saying. So let's go on to 23. When he got into the boat, his disciples followed him. And behold, there arose a great storm on the sea, so that the boat was being covered with the waves. But Jesus himself was asleep. Okay, so the Son of God is sleeping. And there's a storm, but the Son of God is sleeping on the boat. So, and they came to him and woke him, saying, Save us, Lord, we are perishing. Again, the Son of God is on the boat. So they woke him from his nap because they were afraid they were going to perish, to save them from perishing. Do you understand how that's kind of... Anyway, like God didn't know Jesus was on the boat. You see where I'm at? God would sink that boat and kill his own son right there for no purpose. You know, there's more to be said about this whole story. We'll find out as we go through. Okay, so save us, Lord, we are perishing. And he said to them, Why are you afraid, you men of little faith? Then he got up and rebuked the winds and the sea, and it became perfectly calm. And the men were amazed and said, What kind of man is this, that even the winds and the seas obey him? And when he came to the other side, into the country of the Gadarenes, I don't even know, but 2 men who were demon-possessed met him as they were coming out of the tombs. They were so extremely violent that no one could pass by that way. And so, like, the tombs themselves is like an unclean place on top of it. So that's why these demons-possessed men hid here. Okay, so then we go on, verse 29. And they cried out, saying, What business do we have with each other, Son of God? So these demons that were possessing these men knew that this was the Son of God and said so. Okay, I want you to understand this as we go through life. Even demons believed he was who he was and said he was who he was. You see where I'm at? So, yeah, let's go on. Have you come here to torment us before the time? And the time is the end, and that's what he came for. So now there was a herd of many swine feeding at a distance from them. The demons began to entreat him, saying, If you are going to cast us out, send us into the herd of swine. It's very odd that these demons would even bother to ask the Son of God to do this, or ask anyone to do this if he wasn't the Son of God. Why would he have the power? So just continue to follow the story. And he said to them, Jesus said to them, Go! Exclamation point. And they came out and went into the swine, and the whole herd rushed down the steep bank into the sea and perished in the waters. Okay, so they still didn't win. The herdsmen ran away and went to the city and reported everything, including what had happened to the demoniacs. So now they've got the herdsmen who were herding the swine, who watched the swine run into the water and die, and also has witnessed the demons leaving these men, and these men becoming somewhat normal again, I guess. And so they ran back to the city to tell everyone about this guy that just did all this. You see what I mean? So, and behold, the whole city came out to meet Jesus. And when they saw him, they implored him to leave their region, which, to some and to many would sound crazy if you believe in Jesus. But the thing that is, they didn't know Jesus. You see what I mean? He just came there and performed such great wonders right in front of their eyes that they didn't understand who he was. All they knew is that they didn't want to hurt him or stand in his way, because he just fixed these demon-possessed fellows, and all these pigs ran off, you see, into the sea, which would be a crazy thing to see regardless of the demon-possessed men. So obviously this man had power from something or someone, which is God. We know this. So there's our reading for this time. That's Matthew chapter 8. God bless, and thanks for listening.